Hello everybody, and this is DJ Chance, and this is another tutorial from SpinLikeABoss.com. Today we're going to focus on this section. Today we're going to focus on these 8 pads right here. Some people call them sample pads, or as Pioneer like to call them, as the 8 performance pads. And this is the Pioneer DDJ SX. And this is the Pioneer DDJ SX. As you can see, there's 8 fairly large buttons set up right under the jog wheel or the scratch wheel, depending on your preference of what to call it. So what I'm going to show you today is how to set up your hot cues. Now as you can see, there's 4 other buttons on top of these. These 8 performance pads can also be used for 4 other effects. There's a roll feature, there's a slicer feature, and then there's the sampler feature, which on the mixer right here has its own volume. And I'm going to show you how to utilize all of these tools to take your performance to the next level when you're DJing a show, even if it's something simple, or how just to mix things at home and kind of remake your own songs if you don't have all the production software needed. So you can kind of do things on the fly once you've already loaded all the things you need to do and you've practiced with us at SpinLikeABoss.com. So as you can see here, they're lit up. That means that these are loaded with tracks. There's already loaded with samples. Like here I have the beginning bass drum. And on the second sample pad I decided to load a snare because I like to play beats a lot when I'm doing a live gig or just messing around at the house with acapellas and things like that. And over here I just have another little sample, and this is the little part I like to mess around with and play with the buttons and sample a lot. And this part is a vocal with beat right before the first break of the song. And there's the first breakdown of the song. Now what I'm going to show you is how I did this. How do you perform this live? You can go in with it preset done and have all of your songs with your hot cues already to go. And if you have, as I've discussed in other videos, if you already have a portable flash drive or a much bigger portable hard drive and you bring with you to gigs, you can use those same hot cues that you've already preset in there. If you've saved it onto your hard drive, you'll be ready to do that anywhere without having to bring a laptop or anything else. If all the right equipment is already there, if it's a friend of yours, if you have a rider in your contract that says you've got to have this piece when you perform at your club or your venue, and there's already a MacBook there, or you have 2 or 3 MacBooks, a friend has a MacBook, you won't have to switch out laptops. You can just sit there, plug into their free USB cable, or to their free USB port, or to their FireWire, depending on the type of computer. So let's see, how did I get these? How did I get these to light up? Well, the first thing I'm going to show you is a trick that a lot of people didn't know. They get the piece, they do their sample live, and sometimes they don't know how to erase that particular hot cue and set another one. Because sometimes if you're really on the fly, and say you've got all 8 of them queued up, and you want to erase something because now there's a part of the song coming up that maybe you forgot about, or maybe you just had an idea right there on the fly in the middle of the show, and that happens to me a lot, where all of a sudden I've got my 8 hot cues, and there's, you say, 45 seconds left in a song, and there may be a sound or a drum that all of a sudden, oh man, I really want to mess around with that right now, or for the next time, or maybe mess around with that while I'm mixing in my next track. So let me show you how do you erase these that I already have here. Now it's simple. There's a shift key right here on the DDJ SX. You're going to press in that shift key and hold down the button at the same time. Let it go, and there you go. It's not lit up anymore. It's now a free space ready to be utilized wherever you want it. And the same goes for the rest. So I'm going to erase all of my points here. Now, to find the particular points I want again, I would just have to go through the track one more time. So let's go through the track. You're going to hear me spin the wheel a little bit. Hope that doesn't annoy you too much. So I'm going to just play the track. Let me cue this back a bit. Oh, another feature that's great on this that we're going to discuss in further detail in another tutorial is this over here. Let me pan the camera. Up on top here you see what's called the needle search. Now the needle search is kind of what it says. It's like dropping your finger as the needle on the record and you can just, wherever the song is, like let's play the track and you'll see what I mean. So there I was back to the beginning of my track. That way you didn't have to waste, 45 seconds or so hearing me spin this entire thing back to the beginning. So let's get this camera angle correct again. So as you see, I'm at the beginning. And you can see that the bass drum starts roughly around that 2 o'clock area. So let's hit that first sample pad. Now it's lit up. Now there's my sample. Now I want a snare again. I didn't pick any particular snare. I just grabbed a snare because I just wanted the sound. And I wanted one that was more plain with no hi-hats or synths behind it. So this one right in the beginning is pretty plain. So for me, I'll grab that snare. I know what you're saying, but you're stopping it in order to do that. Well, see, this is something I would do in the headphones. Now, if you want to do something live, like you're playing this song and you want to play live, you've got to be pretty accurate with how you hit those sample pads. Because remember, you're working with a laptop and a piece of hardware and software. So there is, even at the maximum lowest setting for the latency on your laptop, you still have a 1 millisecond delay. So with that, you've got to time this just right. It's not like when you have a CDJ per se where there's no latency at all, and what you need to do is just let the track play and time it just right so you can get the beat and the snares going right where you want them. So let me show you that. We're going to hit that shift button again. We're going to hit the pads, we're going to erase them. And there we go. We've got fresh pads ready to be used. Now we'll spin this back to the beginning, or I'll use the needle search. You just won't see it in the camera, but I'll bring it to the beginning. And there's the beat again, like I said, right about in the 2 o'clock area. So let's let that beat go, and let's try some hot cues live while the beat is, actually playing. And this is what you would do at a gig. You would do it on the fly if you want to chop up a new song. Or let's say you had a DJ on before you and then they erased your things, erased your hot cues, or maybe you did it the night before and now you've got an early day gig at a festival and you forgot to load these again. Well, it's easy. You can do them on the fly again. So let's do that. As you saw right there, sometimes on the fly it's a little off, even for the professionals. You see, with this, I wanted that little tom-tom roll, and I'm just a hair off. As you see, if I lightly tap the button, there's that little bit of space right before the actual tom hit. Now, what you can do if that happens on the headphones, and this is what I generally tend to do if something like that happens, I'll hit it once and I'll get that split second off. I'll put the same track on my other deck and listen to it in the headphones, and I can do all my adjustments in the headphones. And what I would do is I would hit the shift and the erase, and I would just bring that, adjust it with the wheel. Now see, the thing with the controllers, as you can see, the little marker isn't moving because it's such a finite amount that it needs to be moved. So you really have to move it a lot. But I just needed just that little hair right there, just a little bit. So right there, and there's the tom-tom I want. So you see, simple as that. Now I've got the part I want, exactly where I want it. You make your little adjustments. So we got So let's go back to the beginning of the track. That way I can show you exactly how you can do this on the fly, hitting the buttons as the track is being played out through your speakers and out to your crowd, or just out at home, just out of the master output and not in your headphones. Or say you're recording a mix or a live session, this is how you would do it. So I'm going to use that needle search feature I showed you up here. I'm going to bring the track back to the beginning. As you can see, whatever I'm doing there, you see the marker on the platter is spinning. So we're going to bring it back to that beat, and we know that the bass drum is about at that 2 o'clock. Alright, so there we go. We're about the 2 o'clock. So let's let the beat go. Let's say we're at the gig and we're just going to slip cue it right in. Gotta hit play. That's very important. It's very important in the DJ world if you're going to play a track to hit the actual play button. Alright, so we're going to pick just random cues here. Not what I normally do. We're just going to go some random here. You got to be careful with your fingers sometimes, because as you saw, I lit up an extra sample pad here just by my finger grazing it, but that's okay. Just shift and hit the button, and now it's erased. So see, on the fly, we can do something like this. We can just take the song as it's playing, decide, okay, ooh, you know what, I want to start this piece over and over, I want to chop it up, I want to cue it, and let's do that again. Let's pick another new sound now that we have synths. So as you see, it's fairly simple, and the same would apply for the 4 bottom pads. You can fill this up with a whole bunch. Let's do another one right here.